You're listening to the Future Tech Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies such as artificial intelligence, stem cells, 3D printing, gene editing, Bitcoin, blockchain, the microbiome, quantum computing, virtual reality, and exploring space are much closer than you might think. In fact, many early versions of these technologies are in play right now, and the companies that are using these technologies are the focus of this podcast. My goal for you, the listener, is to learn from these podcasts. You may very well learn something that may change the course of your life for the better, steer you towards a new career, or give you insight into addressing a thorny medical problem. Remember, this podcast and its content is informational in nature only. No medical, tax, legal, financial, or psychological advice is being given. If you enjoyed the podcast, please listen, subscribe, like, and tell your friends about it. Thank you. Hello, this is Richard Jacobs with the Future Tech and Future Tech Health podcast. I have JJ Abodeely. He's the founder of a company called Level Sleep, and the website is levelsleep.com. James, or JJ, thanks for coming. How you doing?
Hey, Rich, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yeah, so tell me about Level Sleep. What's the premise of the company?
Yeah, sure. So Level Sleep was founded a little over 3 years ago with the central idea that most mattresses and pillows, for that matter, aren't designed to accommodate the natural curves of the human body, and that essentially we haven't seen innovation in the construction and design of these quintessential sleep products in many years, and that with some advances in materials technology and some advances in sort of distribution, we were able to design and distribute efficiently products that were novel, clinically tested, and proven to be efficacious, and do so in a way that actually saved consumers money by kind of avoiding the traditional retail channels or emphasizing direct-to-consumer approach.
Okay, so what does that mean? That you develop mattresses and pillows that help people sleep better? And if so, what's the mechanism?
Yeah, so really we started from a biomechanical standpoint and an idea around kind of two primary goals of spinal alignment and uniform low pressure. In the sort of industry, those two things have been at odds. If you kind of think about it simplistically, as consumers, we're asked to find a mattress somewhere between soft and firm on sort of a continuum. And the idea, right, is that each person might find a sweet spot where it's firm enough to give them support, but not too firm as to create pressure, high pressure buildup, and thus tossing and turning or pain. And that idea is something that really has just led consumers, I think, to compromise to find sort of the least worst solution, and maybe give up support in favor of low pressure or tolerate pressure in order to find support or alignment, spinal alignment. And so what the central observation of our products is that the human body's got a curve to it. So why are mattresses flat and undifferentiated from head to toe? So we built a mattress that's soft where you want it and firm where you need it. Firm in the areas that allow for example, lumbar and torso support, but soft, say, in the shoulder and sort of medium in the hip, where you would typically find pressure buildup, for example, for a side sleep. So we design products that, again, are soft where you want it, firm where you need it, that simultaneously align the spine and provide uniform low pressure. Those products are patented. They underwent a series of call them trials, 30-person sleep trial conducted by some of the leading sleep researchers, and have now been market tested over the last 3 years or so in a direct-to-consumer model. Interestingly, a good portion, majority, I would say, of our consumers to date have been patients of chiropractors who really understand sort of the value of spinal alignment, but at the same time, maybe are a tough case in that they've, either dealt with periodic or episodic or even chronic pain and have found, the overwhelming majority have found I guess relief and or just improved sleep out of our products.
So, for example, what is what does a mattress look like, or it just looks like a normal mattress to the eye? And if you lay on it, let's say on your side or your back, what do you experience that's different from a normal mattress?
Yeah, so the cover, we have a cover on it that sort of tries to emphasize the three main zones of the mattress, that differentiates between the soft area, the firm area, and the medium area. If you think about it, like a mattress, traditionally might have been built like a sandwich from top to bottom, but we're building ours from head to toe. So we're literally, aggregating pieces of materials of foam from head to toe, assembling them that contain very, very significantly different firmnesses and densities. Well, not densities so much as firmness. And so what it looks like and what it feels like to the sleeper sort of as follows: is the top 22 inches of the mattress is soft. I mean, I'm talking extremely soft. You touch this thing, and if you spent a night on a mattress where the whole thing was that soft, you would wake up and your back would just kill you, right? It would just be so soft. But when you lay on it, for example, on your side, you are able to drop your shoulder straight into this very soft surface without feeling that sort of traditional pressure buildup that you might find on your shoulder. What's more is you might observe yourself or others often when sleeping on their side sort of tuck their shoulder around to kind of get off the tubercle and kind of get off the boniest part of the shoulder, kind of come off onto the sort of backside of their shoulder. Well, that's twisting their spine. So by allowing a very soft surface for your side, for your shoulder, you can kind of go straight into it and maintain alignment. And then the next 10 inches is the firmest part of the mattress, what we call like the lumbar support band or the torso support band, whether you're sleeping on your back or your side. So when you're on your side, it acts to maintain your torso and not allow it to drop towards the mattress in the sort of gravity-induced spinal alignment that you might, or spinal misalignment that you might find with a traditional mattress. And then the hip section is all sort of a medium firmness area, and that is sort of more in line with what you might find a typical mattress in terms of firmness rating, kind of call it like a 6 or 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. And what that does is it gives you sort of a mix between support and low pressure, because the hip pressure is real, something that people toss and turn away from. So you definitely want to not have something too firm on your hip, but it also needs more support than, for example, your shoulder does, just given its relative weight. So when you put these things together, again, imagine the side sleeping sleeper, side lying sleeper, is the shoulder drops in the most or the furthest, the torso is supported by the firm band, and then your hip and the medium surface, and allows you to maintain alignment and drop into the mattress sort of evenly, because your different proportions of your body are receiving different amounts of support. Contrast of say a traditional mattress, when you can imagine someone sleeping in what we call the fetal position, where you're all curled up because your body is sort of hitting the surface with different amounts of weight, and it's kind of curling into that mattress surface. Well, we want you to maintain the level, so to speak, as the company is named, level alignment across the mattress. And then when you're on your back, what you really just feel is lumbar support and sort of a decompression of the spine. Whereas on a traditional mattress, you might sort of sink into it and kind of lose that curve of your lower back and sort of become a little bit of a C as your body falls asleep and your muscles let go of your spine. Your spine will lose its curve. It'll be pulled down towards the mattress surface. Well, on ours, because your hips are dropping into a slightly softer surface and your shoulders are dropping into a softer surface, your torso and your lumbar thoracic spine is supported by the firmer surface. It's much just like having lumbar support, say, in an office chair or in a car. And what you realize is that, so much of the day's activities are compressive, right? We're hunched over our computers, or we're hunched over our phones, or hunched over our steering wheels. Even if we're active, we're engaging in compressive activities, cycling, running, etc. Are all compressive activities. And what our products are about decompressing the spine, restoring the natural curve that we're born with that say like a proper posture and alignment would look like, and kind of opening yourself back up throughout the night. And what you find is you wake up feeling better than you did when you went to sleep. And as simple as that sounds, that premise is something that I think we've lost sight of. So many people have just sort of resigned themselves to waking up stiff and sore, waking up groggy, waking up feeling like they are so tired, not feeling better than they did when they went to bed, which is really what the goal of sleep is. Sleep's supposed to be restorative, and so that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm heavy, so I tend to crush the mattress. So when they say like a mattress will last you for 7 years, that's not happening with me. It probably, after a year, even with turning it, it feels like what I call a piece of toast. It's got like a hard crust around the outside. It's hard because I haven't crushed it there, and as you go towards the middle, it's gotten softer and softer because my weight has crushed it. So it would be nice to have one that's the firmness changes in the opposite way, so that it stays level as it deforms and gets compressed by someone sleeping on it.
Yeah, and actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because this is really interesting. So, part of what is driving level sleep success is a trend to, essentially online mattress shopping, or call it, mattress shopping outside of the traditional retail channel. And part of what has enabled this revolution to happen, and it is really a revolution. I mean, in the last, 4 years, the percentage of mattresses sold online has gone from something like 5% to something closer to 20%. And it's become a multi-billion-dollar industry in just a few years, or subset of the industry, I guess I should say. And part of what has enabled that has been the ability for manufacturers to take a 10-inch mattress, or 8-inch mattress, a 10-inch mattress, 12-inch mattress, it doesn't really matter, and compress this mattress from its full height, in our case 10 inches, compress it from 10 inches down to 1 inch, like a pancake, and roll pack it, fold it, roll pack it, and put it in a box that's only, say, like 20 inches wide by 45 inches tall, and ship it via UPS or FedEx. And then allow the consumer to open that mattress up and have it rebound. And do so without compromising the sort of structural integrity of the product. That advancement, which has enabled companies to deliver really high quality, domestically made products. In our case, we pour all of our foams in California. The mattress is assembled in California, shipped around the country, at half the cost of what you might expect to pay in retail. And but one of the getting back to your observation on your mattresses, is one of the benefits, or the side effect benefit of that process, is that the mattress gets broken in uniformly under thousands of pounds of pressure during the compression process, and such that when your body gets on it for the first time and spends a year on it, it is not going to do anything to that surface that this thousands of pounds of pressure hasn't already done. And so you're much less likely to find what you're describing as body impressions, for example, or the peaks and valleys that you find in a mattress after a few years, where they break in around your body, but not where you sleep, but not where you don't sleep. And that's a benefit of actually a kind of bed in a box model. And it's true of most bed in a box, not just ours. Though I will say that having the quality of the components of the foams does vary significantly. So, a $200 bed in a box is not going to perform most likely the same way that a $1,000, $1,200 bed in a box would. But yeah, so I think you'll find that that experience of body impressions is less likely to happen in a mattress like ours.
So what was your sleep study like? I don't know how many details you can give, but what did you have participants do, and how long, and what happened to them?
So it was a 30-person trial. It was, in fact, people who are interested in kind of getting all the details, I'll kind of give you a high level deal. If you go to levelsleep.com, there's an hour research tab, and we kind of get into the details there. But 30-person study. Participants were, put into 3 conditions based on kind of age, gender, and whether or not they slept with a bed partner. So we had a, essentially even mix of those kind of categories. And the participants spent 5 nights on their existing mattress and 5 nights on the level sleep mattress. We measured, and we didn't, but the study conductors did measured both objective and subjective data per kind of typical sleep study things. So objective data would be using, say, like a wearable device that allowed you to measure the time it took people to fall asleep, measured the number of awakenings at night, the number of shifts in body position, the total sleep time, total time in bed, for example. Those sort of objective data points. And then subjective data was collected through a series of questionnaires that are sort of the established status quo in sleep medicine that are called the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, the Epworth Sleepiness Scale, and then an exercise called morning rating scales, where you say, rate on a scale of 1 to 10, how well you slept last night, and a bunch of other categories. And then the next point, which is really important, and this is always important when you're evaluating sort of the claims that a company makes, is to think about the methodology of their research, is that a full statistical analysis was done on the results. What that does is allows you to really say, well, was this result statistically significant? So what I say about the study is it had incredible results. Participants reported less than 50% reduction, for example, in morning pain and stiffness, or it was actually higher. They tossed and turned 34% less. They woke up with 43% less fatigue, and 60% less daytime dysfunction due to sleepiness, which was part of the questionnaires that they would ask, for example, in the afternoon after a night of sleep. The results were fantastic, and that's important. And it's helpful to know that there's science behind here, but here's where science kind of comes to being a smart consumer, is that we take the position that we know how and why our product works. We know that it worked in a statistically significant study, but until you, as the consumer, gets it home and sleeps on it for some time, that's the only way you will know if it works for you. And so we give our customers 365 days, a full year, to try our products in their home, risk-free. And if it doesn't work for them, if it doesn't, meet their, standards of improving their sleep and meet their satisfaction, then we send someone to their house to pick it up, typically a charity, and we give them a full refund of their money. And we take this position that, our brand's very important to us. We don't want anybody feeling like they're stuck with our product that they don't absolutely love. And so that's the approach we take. And so for many people who don't get to try the mattress first, it's a kind of a mental hurdle that they have to get over. You remind yourself, well, I can try a mattress in a store and lay on it for 30 minutes, or I can lay on it for an hour, for that matter, until you get on it, get it home and sleep on it for many, many hours, for several nights, and I would say several weeks. That's the only way you're really going to know if the mattress is right for you. So we take more of a buy then try approach to mattresses.
Is there any adjustment period? Like the first night, do people have problems and then it takes 2 or 3 nights to settle in, or is it immediate?
Both. I've seen both for sure. I've had people, call and complain after 2 nights, be like, my back actually hurts. I don't like this at all. And, what's going on? And encourage them to give it a few more nights. And then, get a call, 3 days later. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you suggested I stick it out. Here's the way to think about it is, the bed is almost like an orthotic for your body. Your body is, I would say, maladapted to laying on things that don't offer proper alignment and support. And so when it receives that support finally for the first time, it can be a little bit of a shock to the system. And so your body will then adapt positively towards finally getting that support and alignment that it needs but it can take some time. And I would say that's true for and this is back in the envelope, I don't actually have the data on this, just kind of based on the anecdotes. I would say that maybe 20% of the people have an adjustment period. I would say that the rest kind of just immediately fall into a satisfactory state of liking it. Of course, we do have some customers who never end up liking it, and they do return it. And that figures, sort of in the high single digits, and that's fine. Not every product is for every person, but when you see the incredible results and incredible feedback we get from the 90+% people who really end up enjoying our products, it's really rewarding for me personally as a founder. And I think it gives us a lot of excitement about the future growth of our company.
So how did you come up with this idea, and when, and what caused you to do it?
So I was introduced to the design of the products by the inventor, who's a gentleman named Roger Schrammick. And he invented these, he first invented actually an anti-snoring pillow in the late 90s. And then these researchers at Stanford encouraged him to take a look at the pillow. And just as he did with to take a look at the mattress. And just as he had done with the pillow, and we actually have a kind of a since improved version of that pillow that we also sell, which we can talk about, which has a goal of opening the airways and reducing snoring, and also accomplishing some things with neck alignment and whatnot. He had designed this sort of mattress design, and he had, basically was looking for ways to bring it to the market, had kind of played around with retail and other things. And I saw what was happening in the direct-to-consumer space. Myself at the time was going through some sleep-related challenges. My wife and I were on our third mattress in 8 months. She had come off her third pregnancy. And we were adding toppers. We just could not find something that made us both happy. Either my back would hurt or her hips would hurt. And we were just constantly battling, spent just a ton of money trying to find the right solution. And so I said, well, hey, I'm in the market. Let me try this. Let me try this thing, this prototype. And we tried it and we were blown away. And so we built Level Sleep as a brand, and to take these products directly to consumers. And really the idea to take it through a network of chiropractors was sort of our way to, without a lot of money and investment, try to reach an audience that we knew understood spinal alignment and understood the benefits of spinal alignment. And at the same time were, maybe tough customers. And so it was sort of a attempt to kill the idea, so to speak, and sort of kill the idea, and we couldn't. And that was a good thing. And then we had something on our hands, and with free returns, you got to make sure that enough people are going to like it and your sample size is large enough, because if you have 30% returns, you don't have a business. But we were able to prove out the product, prove out the pricing, and actually in the last few months, we joined a larger direct-to-consumer mattress company that's building a multi-brand portfolio, and that's additionally kind of jumped up our growth profile in the last few months. And so now we're part of the portfolio of brands that includes Nectar and Dream Cloud and Awara, which are all kind of in different categories. Our mattress fulfilling sort of the performance category of mattresses, and or the orthopedic category of mattresses. And what's really cool is since becoming part of this family of brands, and sort of leveraging some of the buying power we have with vendors, suppliers, of course, leveraging technology, leveraging customer service, operations, logistics, etc. We've been able to drop the price of our mattress significantly in the last 6 months. And essentially pass on to consumers incredible savings, such that now you can buy a queen Level Sleep mattress for around $1,000 or even a little less, and that's pretty unbelievable value for what you're getting.
Well, very good. Tell me a little bit about the anti-snoring pillow, and then we'll wrap.
Yeah, sure. So the pillow, like I said, was originally designed by Roger back in the late '90s. It was actually licensed under sorry, it was licensed as a anti-snoring pillow to Brookstone for a number of years. So it's funny, I find people who had bought that pillow back in sort of the mid 2000s. It's changed somewhat. We've improved it, but the core features of the pillow are it's a cervical pillow, and what that means is that it provides support under your neck, and the sort of the bridge of your neck, and allows your head to fall back. If you imagine a back flipper, in fact, you can do this exercise right now while we're talking, and your listeners can do it as well. Standing up or sitting down, doesn't matter. Take your chin and kind of angle it down towards your chest. And take a deep breath. Now lift your chin up and have your nose pointing straight at, say, like the wall in front of you, so that your head is back and even up at a little bit of an angle towards the ceiling. Now take a deep breath. Well, most likely you just got about 40% more air through your diaphragm and your lungs, and through your mouth and nose as well. And so what allowing your head to fall back does is it opens up your airway. And so there was a study done called cervical positional effects on snoring and apnea by the same researchers at Stanford using this pillow, and found that it reduced the amount of sleep disordered breathing by over 25%. And what that means is that how we position our head has a significant effect on our breathing, and that's true for back sleepers. But what we also observed with side sleepers is that people were kind of putting pressure on their jaw and kind of putting their head on, or they're resting their face on their pillow, right? Putting pressure on their jaw and kind of closing their airway that way. And so what we did is we put an ear well on all four corners of the pillow, such that you can always find a corner of the pillow to put your ear in. And what that does is it puts your weight on your skull more than on your jaw. Takes pressure off that, opens up the airway. We actually believe it also has some beneficial effects for your skin, maybe an anti-wrinkling pillow too. We have not tested that yet, but that's our anecdotal evidence. And keep the airway open and would take pressure off your jaw. And pressure on your ear, on your actual ear, is something that people actually toss away from pretty significantly. And people will say, oh yeah, I do notice my ear. I wake up with my ear burning or something like that. So the ear wells are sort of the second feature. And then what we do with the product in total is we make it adjustable, right? Because of course people have pretty significantly different shoulder sizes and neck lengths and whatnot. So you can rotate the pillow 180 degrees to get more or less neck support based on sort of how long your neck is. There's foam inserts that allow you to increase or decrease the height of the pillow so that your neck can be in a neutral position. And what the pillow amounts to is a pillow that allows for it basically amounts to a pillow that is lower profile while you're on your back and higher profile while you're on your side, so that you don't have to have, a lot of times when people rotate from their back to their side, they're messing with their pillow. They're either flexing it up typically to make it taller for their side, or they're removing from one pillow to two or back to one, and it's just disrupting sleep. So with our pillow, you can seamlessly roll from back to side without having to make any adjustments and maintain the right alignment.
Yeah, it makes sense. I laid on a pillow sometimes, and my ear feels like it gets crushed. Actually, it can also amplify sounds. So if your ear is pressed up against the pillow material and then to the bed material, and if there's ambient sounds or scratching on the floor or things like that, it can go into you and actually wake you up. I guess it's maybe you think it's a subtle phenomena, but I've noticed that for sure.
Yep.
Even if a partner is moving around on the bed and your ear is pressed to the bed, you're more likely to hear them than if it wasn't pressed to the bed. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and actually that motion transfer thing is really important too, because that's a good nice feature of all foam beds. One of the is that, and this is not just our bed, but it's really kind of any all foam bed, to be honest, is really reduces motion transfer. So because you don't have this sort of interconnected coil or inner spring system underlying your bed, so that when one person moves on one side, you don't feel them on the other. And that helps with sleep. And I think all of these things amount to, some small and some large, but amount to the goal of improving sleep, which in total is huge. And that's really, that's really something that I think is starting to gain a foothold. And, if you look back over the last 20 years, the amount of time, energy, money, and learnings that, as a society we've put into, say, like exercise or nutrition has been huge, right? And we've sort of optimized and started to dial in, what does it mean to live a healthy lifestyle through exercise and through nutrition. But sleep, was sort of the third stepchild, right? Sort of forgotten about. It's like, okay, maybe we sacrifice our extra hour of sleep to get up and get a workout in. Or, of all the things, especially, for those of us who are, maybe a little bit skewed towards the type A spectrum and take on a lot and are very busy and like to have, a lot of activities in our life, both, professionally and socially and all of the above, families, the whole thing, what gets lost, what gets sacrificed. It was always sleep. And I know that was true for me personally. And, I thought, 5-6 hours, good enough, right? And I think that idea is now being challenged both scientifically with incredible research coming out over the last few years, but now more importantly, probably culturally. More culturally, people are becoming aware that sleep is not, I used to say, even just 2 or 3 years ago when I was getting into this, I said, it's the third leg on the stool of wellness, sleep, exercise, and nutrition. Well, it's really not. It's really actually foundational and more sort of primal in some ways in its need, because if you don't have the sleep, it negatively affects significantly the nutrition angle, the health that we can get through exercise. There's incredible research on essentially when we sleep 6 hours or less, we are 20% less efficient in how we consume and burn calories. In other words, the things that tell us that we're hungry, we produce 20% less of that when we sleep 6 hours or less, or that tell us that we're full. Sorry, not hungry, but full. We tend to eat 20% more calories. We choose worse calories when we're short on sleep. Short sleep of 6 hours or more is tied to diabetes, obesity, poor decision making. The list goes on and on. So it's really foundational, and people are starting to realize that.
Well, very good. So what's the best way for folks to find out more?
So levelsleep.com is definitely the place to go. You should find kind of everything you need about the products and maybe some more interesting stuff about the biomechanics of sleep. We hope to be building out a little bit more sleep related content, just about sleep generally on the site to be helpful. But there's quite a lot of that out there, and I encourage you to find it in your readers. There's some great books. Matthew Walker has an excellent book on sleep. If you're interested in the topic. And I'd say for your readers who are looking, who are thinking about their mattresses and their pillows, and I would say don't put up with something that's not working. Sleep's too important, and the cost, while maybe the upfront cost may seem significant, it's minuscule compared into the impact that it has on your life. Think about it over a 10-year-old period. It's like 25 cents a night, right? Or maybe less. I'm not doing the math at the moment, but it's important. And so find something that allows you to buy then try, that gives yourself plenty of time to try it at your home and really sleep on it for a few weeks, maybe even a few months, because your body goes through different phases, and make sure it works for you. And then, ultimately, don't compromise. So, check us out, and you can always find us a little bit on social media, everything under Level Sleep, but the web's the place to go.
Very good. Well, JJ, thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rich. Take care.
I just want to add one quick note. The founder, James Abodeely, he's been very gracious and offered a discount coupon to Future Tech Podcast listeners only. So if you want to buy the mattress, go to levelsleep.com, and coupon code will be FT Podcast, as in Future Tech Podcast, and it'll give you a pretty significant discount on the mattress. So he wanted to offer that to you, and we're glad to do that. We don't get any commission on it or anything. I just wanted to be a resource for you, the listeners. Thank you very much. You're listening to the Future Tech Podcast with Richard Jacobs. Future technologies such as artificial intelligence, stem cells, 3D printing, gene editing, Bitcoin, blockchain, the microbiome, quantum computing, virtual reality, and exploring space are much closer than you might think. In fact, many early versions of these technologies are in play right now, and the companies that are using these technologies are the focus of this podcast. My goal for you, the listener, is to learn from these podcasts. You may very well learn something that may change the course of your life for the better, steer you towards a new career, or give you insight into addressing a thorny medical problem. Remember, this podcast and its content is informational in nature only. No medical, tax, legal, financial, or psychological advice is being given. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please listen, subscribe, like, and tell your friends about it. Thank you.